Hare Krishna. Warm welcome, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining us today. Ein herzliches Willkommen. Vielen Dank, dass ihr heute dabei seid. Gibt es jemand, der kein Englisch versteht? Good. Everyone is fine with English. Is anyone here for the first time today? Yes, one. What is your name? Ritik. Your name? Marco. Thank you so much for coming. So I guess that's all kind of new. You look like you're from India, maybe some roots from India, so you know the kirtan culture. Now we're going to have a lecture. We hear about the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and we have a very special guest today with us. His Grace Trai Prabhu. Let us welcome him. Haribo! His Grace Trai Prabhu is a very senior member of our movement. He's originally from the US, from California, and he came in touch with the Krishna consciousness in 1970. That's 55 years ago. And he joined the movement, as we can see. Then he was in Boston. He was the first temple president in Boston, one of the... Not the first. Okay, so that's the wrong information that came. He was one of the first temple presidents in Boston. And it is one of the original temples we had in ISKCON. Now there's hundreds of temples. And Prabhu then eventually, he took initiation by Srila Prabhupada, and he came to Europe and ended up in Italy, where he's been serving for the past 45 years. And mainly he's very much connected with book distribution. Many of you know this is a core activity of our movement to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books in public. And Trai Prabhu is very much inspiring devotees to do so, and that's why we also invited him to come. He has been here before, but came after a long time. And today, since we have Gita Jayanti tomorrow, Gita Jayanti is the day where Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Sri Krishna many thousands of years ago. Trai Prabhu will be speaking about the Bhagavad Gita and inspiring us to read the book and also distribute. We're going to sing a song, Jaya Radha Madhava, and for those of you who don't know the song, there is a lyrics here, the text.
No one plays harmonium? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivanadhari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivanadhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunadiravanachari Yamunadiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Actually, Prabhupada would do like they would just go faster, faster, Jaya Radha Madhava, and then stop. Om Agyantimirandasya Ganajana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. So somehow I was invited. I'm very happy to be here, very happy to the devotees invited me to come to this wonderful temple. There's actually a story. This temple had beautiful Radha and Krishna deities. I don't know if you know the story, because you may wonder why there's Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev, and Gaura Nitai. But there's some. I was just at the temple where those Radha and Krishna deities they reside now. But actually, they originally were here. But somehow or other, they kept them in the closet too long, and so they went to Villaggio Hare Krishna, one way or another. But so if you want to see them sometime, you can go visit Villaggio Hare Krishna between Milano and Bergamo in Italy. It's not so far from here. But I was just thinking, seeing it's kind of like, because Prabhupada established many places, starting in Los Angeles. He actually started full deity worship in Los Angeles when he purchased it was the first real purchased temple in ISKCON, 1970 it was purchased. And Prabhupada stayed there and trained devotees in deity worship. And he established that same that is in Vrindavan and Maya, same principle, three altars with Radha and Krishna in the middle. In Los Angeles, Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev on the right side and Gaura Nitai on the left side. So it just made me think of that. But the real point is today. It's not today, but it's tomorrow. And since tomorrow everybody's going to be working, we try to speak about it today, since you're all here today. And that is the Gita Jayanti victory. The Bhagavad Gita was spoken on a battlefield. It's not so important that it was a battlefield or not a battlefield, but important it brought victory to Arjun's life, the life of the spirit soul, the life of the conditioned soul like us, from illusion to full liberation, full enlightenment. So Bhagavad Gita, as Prabhupada said many times, is a theistic science. It's a spiritual science. It's not as I mentioned before in the Tamil group, it's not a Hindu religious scripture. It's a book of knowledge, the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, the perfect, complete knowledge, same knowledge that Krishna spoke. Does everyone understands English? If anyone needs translation. I thought someone may do that in the corner somewhere, if they need.
Übersetzung? Braucht jemand eine Übersetzung ins Deutsche?
Okay, better, easy. And Krishna spoke the same thing millions of years ago, because it's the guidebook, it's the perfect guide of how to live within this universe, how the universe functions, how we're entangled in this universe, and how to get out of the material universe and return to our original identity. Therefore, it's the most important information, the most important knowledge, the most important book that everybody needs to get, that everybody in this world needs to have. If they have any hope to solve their problems in life, they have any hope to find happiness in life, people need to receive Bhagavad Gita. And that's why we have this special celebration. We say today for tomorrow, but we'll say today, of Gita Jayanti. And I wanted to read, it's not one of the verses that you usually read in Bhagavad Gita, but one particular verse I chose. And then I'll read a little something from Srimad Bhagavatam afterwards. But I want to read this one verse about, it's a little bit about why we, as devotees of Krishna, how many of you would say that I'm a devotee of Krishna? I'm trying to become a devotee of Krishna. Yeah, okay, that's good. We're trying to be a devotee of Krishna is very high, very elevated position. We're trying to become devotees of Krishna, and that we believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we want to gradually become his full devotee. So I think you can be able to appreciate this verse in Bhagavad Gita. It's about compassion, why we want to go out and to give this message to others. Because the more we are convinced that only Krishna will make me happy, I'll only become happy if I surrender to Krishna, I'll only be happy if I engage in devotional service. The more we're convinced of that, the more we'll be convinced of the necessity, the urgency, and to give to other people. And how, because as we advance in spiritual life, we'll begin to see through the eyes of the scripture, we'll be able to see through spiritualized eyes, purified eyes, the world in general. And we'll be able to see how people how they could become happy, how much they're suffering. If any of you ever noticed, there's a lot of pictures of Srila Prabhupada in all the temples. There's so many photos of Prabhupada. Oops. Weren't supposed to open that door, I guess. And there's many pictures of Prabhupada, and sometimes I remember in the early days that some devotees were rather bewildered because there's some pictures where Prabhupada looks very serious. We were used to the yogis from India, the different gurus from India. They were always big smile, big beard, and long hair, and big smile, looking kind of dreamy. And sometimes we would see pictures of Prabhupada looking very, very serious and almost, you could say, sad, from if you had some kind of material vision. But I'd like to explain that and help us to understand the mood, what is the mood of a devotee. And I think we can understand this mood of a devotee from the description of Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj, I hope that most of you know the story of Prahlad Maharaj. Most of you know the story of Prahlad Maharaj? No, a little less than. Prahlad Maharaj, he was the son of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was the biggest, baddest materialist in the history of the world, practically speaking. And naturally, he had harassed and tortured devotees of the Lord all over the world, all over the universe, actually. And naturally, he had a son. He had a son named Prahlad Maharaj, and he was, naturally, you can imagine, he would hope that his son would follow his footsteps and become a number one demon, as he used to call his father, my dear best of the demons, he would address his father, my best of the asuras. And he was hoping that he would follow, Prahlad Maharaj's son would follow in his footsteps. But to make it very short story, Prahlad Maharaj, he was a pure devotee. How did he become a pure devotee? Because it's a long story, but he heard from the greatest spiritual master, Narada Muni, while he was in the womb of his mother, which may sound fantastic, but actually it's possible. All mothers should know that if they have a child in their womb, the child can hear spiritual sound vibrations, can hear the Mahamantra, and they actually can become transformed if you hear and chant about Krishna, chant the holy name while the child is in them. And the proof is that Prahlad Maharaj, he came out already pure devotee, completely transcendental pure devotee, one of the greatest acharyas, greatest devotees of all time. But I wanted to bring up one particular point, that is that at a certain point, Sri Nrsingadev, because you probably heard of Sri Nrsingadev, the half man, half lion incarnation of the Lord who protects his devotees. The father of Prahlad Maharaj was so upset that his son had become a devotee of Vishnu, of Krishna, and he wanted to kill him. And so Nrsingadev appeared to protect his devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. And then after the great Asura, Hiranyakashipu, was killed, and Prahlad Maharaj was saved, then Nrsingadev asked, I want to give you anything. I want to give you a benediction. I want to give you some benediction. Please ask me any benediction. You've been such a faithful devotee to me, and you've risked everything. You've gone through so much difficulty to serve me. So please let. He said, no, I'm not a businessman. I'm not serving you. I'm not worshiping you because I want something in return. I'm only worshiping you because I want to please you. I want to serve you. I want to love you. So he said, but the only thing that does bother me is he said, I don't have any problems. I don't need anything. I'm completely happy. I'm completely satisfied serving you and thinking of you, remembering. He was particularly absorbed in meditation and remembering Vishnu, Krishna. And but the one thing that does bother me is to see all these conditioned souls, to see all these poor souls who are here, that they're not able to be with you and serve you, and they're suffering here in the material world. That's the only thing that's, if you could please help them. And his mood was that I don't want to go back to God, I don't want to go back to the spiritual world before all of them. I want all of the people here that are suffering in the material world to all go back to God at first. Then maybe I'll go back to God. So that was so we should study this. Prabhupada referred to Prahlad Maharaj many, many times. It was practically, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he asked to hear recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam in Jagannath Puri, he would specifically ask about Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, not just Radha and Krishna and the gopis, but he would ask to hear about. So Prahlad Maharaj is very, very important personality. If we can study his life, his teaching, his actions, how he acted after being saved by Nrsingadev. That his only concern was, all of these people are suffering so much. How can I help them? How can I deliver them? Could you please deliver them? I'll stay here. He said, I'll stay. And we know his incarnation in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya was Vasudev Dat. Vasudev Dat was the most so dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he said, give me all the sinful activities of all the living entities in the whole universe. I mean, it's totally inconceivable. Anytime we read the story of Vasudev Dat, you have to either cry or just shake your head, and like it's totally all the sinful activities of all of this. That means every insect, microbe in the whole universe. It's inconceivable. In other words, I'll stay here forever and suffer in hell, but let all these other living entities go back to Godhead. That's the level of compassion of Vasudev Dutt and Prahlad Maharaj, who is the same as Prahlad Maharaj. So that's the mood of a real Vaishnava, a real devotee. He's not thinking about his own liberation. He's not thinking about, he does Mama Janmani Janmani Shvera Bhavata Bhaktir Haitukvi. Life after life, I'll stay here, just let me serve. That's the mood of a devotee, of a real. You're saying you're aspiring to become devotee of Krishna. Are we ready to? Are we ready to enter into that mood of compassion, where we're not concerned anymore about our own happiness, our own liberation, our own pleasure, but we're concerned, how can I serve and how can I help bring others to Krishna consciousness? So that's the mood of a real Vaishnava. So let's read this verse. This is the 6th chapter, 32nd verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Any reflections or questions up to this point? Yeah.
You're now speaking about Prahlad Maharaj and Vasudev Dutt and how they're so compassionate, they don't care for their own
Liberation
or in association with Krishna, that we people to help. How do we, like if you look on our altar, we have also some Gokishore Das Babaji, Jagannath Das Babaji, who didn't really go out apparently and preach. And also we in our spiritual life, I'm honest, if I would adopt that mood, and I need some nourishment, I need some enjoyment. If you can say some thoughts.
Prabhupada explains that. There's Bhajananandi and Goshanandi. He explains that he was emphasizing Goshanandi, but he doesn't negate the fact that they're Bhajanandi, because Haridas Thakur, he was simply chanting, sitting and chanting Hare Krishna practically 24 hours a day. But that purifies the world. That's purifying the whole society, purifying the whole world. But Prabhupada said you can't imitate that. You can't imitate that. We're not able to sit 24 hours and just chant Hare Krishna. He said you'll simply fall asleep and think about women and money and materialistic life. And he also says in Nectar Devotion that because we're trying our best to try to help spread Krishna consciousness and serving Lord Chaitanya, even though we're not able to be on that platform, it sounds, they're just sitting and chanting, but we can't do that. Your mind will go crazy. But by serving Lord Chaitanya's mission of spreading Krishna consciousness to others, we receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy, and that will give us a taste in our chant. They both things, they go hand in hand. We have to have strong sadhana, we'll go visit the holy places, chant more deeply Hare Krishna mantra, study the books to get a spiritual taste, but at the same time, because we're, as far as austerities and penance, all these things, we're really very behind. We have no real qualification. But because we're sacrificing our life and energy to give Krishna consciousness to others and serve the mission of Lord Chaitanya, is anyone gave a glass of water? Excuse me. Thank you. Then we'll get their mercy, but that doesn't mean we should only do that. We should go deeply into our chanting, we should go deeply into reading Prabhupada's books, books of this Goswamis. If there's any incense burning, a little allergic to incense after many years of hearing smelling incense. Did you know that incense, if you work on the altar and you're always offering incense, one devotee went to the doctor and they examined their lungs. He was a pujar. He said, how many packs of cigarettes do you smoke? He said, you have lungs like someone who smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day. So incense is not, it's kind of toxic, let's say. Anyway, it's okay. So, I lost my track. Oh yeah, Bhajanandi, Ghostanandi. We can't imitate Bhajanandi. So Prabhupada has given us the formula of Ghostanandi. We can't imitate Bhajanandi. He's given us the formula of Ghostanandi, by which we receive special mercy from Lord Chaitanya to be able to chant Hare Krishna, to be able to hear about Krishna, to be able to get absorbed gradually more and more in hearing and chanting about Krishna. I think one time Prabhupada said that the real goal is to sit down here in Mayapur and just chant Hare Krishna. I said that's the real conclusion of everything. He said, but you can't do it. Therefore I've created all these big projects and big missions, big things to do, because you have to be active, you have to do something. Otherwise we simply... Prabhupada, he made an experiment. I was there actually when he gave one initiation in the movement, Babaji initiation. He gave one Babaji initiation. I was there at the ceremony, I remember. It's a funny story. This devotee, he had an exam, and they said, you got cancer, you got like 6 months to live. And he said, oh, he left his wife, he left his job, home, he left everything, and he went to Prabhupada and said, you got to give me Babaji. And Prabhupada didn't want it. He insisted. He said, okay. And he put on, he did the whole thing. He gave it was a ceremony like sannyas ceremony. For the ceremony, he put on this little lungi, short, white, just like you see in the pictures of Rupa Goswami. And he went to Mayapur, and they started chanting. A few days, and Prabhupada said you should eat once a day. And then what happened? He did another exam, and the doctor said, no, you're not so bad. You're gonna... Next thing, last we saw of him, he was on a surfboard in I think Prabhupada did, he said, okay, I'll do this one time just to show to you that this is not for you guys, it's not for you, it's not our program, it's not a program. That was the one Babaji who tried, Westerner who tried to be a Babaji, it's not our... Because book distribution, Samkirtan, distributing the holy name, it's not just about helping the people, but it's the most purifying activity for us, for ourselves. It's actually, it's a win-win situation. We're helping the people get Krishna in the form of Prabhupada's books, and we're purifying our hearts by sacrificing our energy and time to help others and serve Prabhupada's mission. So I don't know if that's... So we have all respects, the same respect as all of our previous acharyas, but we can't imitate them or follow in their footsteps. Exactly, we follow Srila Prabhupada, his instructions of how to apply Krishna consciousness anywhere and everywhere all over the world, by especially, and Prabhupada gave in all of his books, he gives so much emphasis on preaching, on giving Krishna consciousness to others. That's the special feature. You can read, you can go to any other mat or any other movement or whatever, but you won't find that everywhere. But you'll find in ISKCON and Prabhupada's movement, that's a special emphasis on spreading Krishna consciousness, giving Krishna to others. And that's which is what has saved all of us, which is what has made us devotees. I can say from my personal experience that if it wasn't for going out and distributing Prabhupada's books and preaching and like that, Just if I had thought to go to Vrindavan and just sit and chant, I definitely wouldn't have made it. We get the mercy to enter into that by sacrificing for serving the mission of Srila Prabhupada, distributing books in particular. And then you'll get the mercy, and then you'll be able to do both. Keep doing both. Okay. Yes?
You mentioned how when Prahlad Maharaj saw Nrsingadev, and the next prayer he had was out of compassion. And
No, Nrsingadev asked him, I want to give you a benediction.
yes.
And he said, I don't want anything. The only thing I'm feeling, I'm suffering to see the...
And sometimes when we choose to be compassionate, it's out of our sense of duty towards Srila Prabhupada. That we go out and preach and we think about preaching. And I was wondering if there is a difference then. We can see these examples of compassion out of love, pure love for Krishna. And then there is this other hand where there is compassion just out of
duty. That's the beginning. That's the beginning. Real compassion is when you really actually feel, you've been practicing for a long time, and you really begin to see through the eyes of the Shastra Chakshus, and really begin to feel how and see how the conditioned souls, how much they're suffering in this material world. That takes a long time of purification to come to the platform. We can understand intellectually and perform our duty in service to Prabhupada to try to give this to other people, but we may not fully feel compassion. But you'll see if you go on year after year trying to help other people, trying to give Krishna consciousness, trying to distribute Prabhupada's books, you'll gradually begin to see, begin to notice, things begin to open up a little bit, and see that, wow, how much people are suffering like anything. And you begin to see their life, and how pointless it is, and how unhappy it is. And then naturally, if you're practicing seriously Bhakti Yoga, then your heart will become softer and softer, and gradually you'll actually feel some real compassion. But first we do it out of duty, out of intelligence. We understand Prabhupada's words and mission, and we want to try to help and try to serve. And then by doing that, gradually our heart will soften. We'll actually begin to feel a little bit of compassion towards the conditioned souls. In the beginning, we're still conditioned, very much conditioned souls, and we still, think that's normal. that life is normal, but it's not normal. It's hellish now, and it will bring them to a really hellish condition in the very near future when they leave the world. But that takes that's all of our practices like that. First, out of duty, we understand with our intelligence the importance by knowledge, and we execute the duty, and then gradually realization will come by doing it. Okay, let's finally read the verse. It's been a while. Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham vaya divadhukam sayogi paramo mataha. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress. O Arjuna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One who is Krishna conscious is a perfect yogi. He is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by dint of his own personal experience. There you go. Who's Krishna conscious? Well, as we become more and more Krishna conscious, fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, then you'll be aware. You'll begin to look and be aware. You'll realize, wow, what condition is that person in. You won't just look like a person walking by, but you'll actually be able to. Anyone who saw Srila Prabhupada remembers very well how you felt like he was looking right through you. He could look. He knew everything about you. He knew everything you were thinking. And it was very difficult to look up and look at Srila Prabhupada, because if he looked at you, you could feel immediately that what a mess I am inside. You're going to try to hide yourself and close yourself, because you couldn't hide anything. You knew exactly what you were thinking, where your consciousness was, what level you were on, immediately, just by looking at you. So we're not like that. We're obviously not like that. But gradually, as you become purified, as you practice, gradually begin to see people, what's really going on, and you'll be aware of their happiness and distress. There's people where I live. It's a famous area where they kill lots of pigs. They're primarily one of the biggest industries on that whole area is growing pigs and killing and eating pigs every day, all day. And they're literally people who look. I mean, they have like this, nose like that. They look just like pigs. And you don't notice it. Maybe when you're new in Krishna consciousness, you don't notice that so much. But after some time, it begins to look really blatant. You can really, like, this person he's already got his next body. His next body is already developed. You begin to see the happiness and distress of these people, how they already have animal bodies practically. It's just a question of time, and they'll be the next one in that big truck that we see driving by all the time, these big, huge trucks full of pigs going to the slaughterhouse. They'll be there in just a very short time. And so you realize that how much, what a horrible condition of life, they're in. But like I said, that takes time and practice. So the cause of the distress, I read this also to the Tamil group. The cause of the distress of a living entity is forgetfulness of his relationship with God. This is an extremely powerful statement. This says it all. Everyone is working hard day and night trying to be free of distress, trying to be free of suffering, trying to find happiness. And here's the whole clue. Because they've forgotten their relationship with God. And Bhagavad Gita is all about reestablishing our relationship with God. So it's the solution to all problems, it's the solution to all suffering. So the more we realize that, the more we're conscious of that, the more you naturally, like I say many times, if you found the cure for cancer, we have friends all the time now. People are dying of cancer all the time. People are dying of heart attacks all the time. If you tomorrow found a cure, a real cure, not a fake cure, but if you found an instant magic cure that just take this one medicine, it'll disappear, you would, unless you were crazy, you would really want to give it, unless you're a really bad person, you just wanted to make money. But if you were a real person, you naturally want to save everybody. You'd want to give it out. You'd want to distribute it as quickly as possible to everyone. This is the solution to all this suffering. So here Prabhupada's saying that reviving our relationship with God will destroy all unhappiness, all suffering. So therefore we should be very enthusiastic to give this cure, the information, to as many people as possible. And the cause of happiness, we want to make people happy. The cause of happiness is knowing Krishna. Then these are the three things, so the three clues that Prabhupada, Krishna gives in the end of the 5th chapter, and Prabhupada cites many, many times this verse, this particular verse, because it pretty much covers the whole key to everything. It says, if you can just the cause of happiness is knowing Krishna to be one. Anyone? Anyone was here this before in the Tamil class? Were you listening? Because somebody was here. I saw him before.
All sacrifices?
Enjoyer, yes, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Because we all think we're the enjoyer. We're all very much convinced that I'm the enjoyer. That at 5 o'clock we're going to go enjoy a big plate of prasadam. And that's going to be very tasty. And I'm going to enjoy it. It's embedded in us since time immemorial. We don't know when we got here to the material world. It's been so long. And we've always had that mentality, that I'm the enjoyer. We came here for that. But here's the solution to really become, but it's never made us happy. So we keep trying, but we've never gotten happy that way. In fact, here are the Christians giving the solution for happiness. Except that Krishna is the enjoyer, not me. Krishna is the enjoyer. I cook prasadam for him. He leaves his remnants. I respect them. I respect them because they're remnants of Krishna, not because I want to. It's okay in the beginning. We might want to. We say yes, just eat. It's very tasty. You just eat as much as you can. But the real mood is I offer respects to this because it's Krishna's prasad, because he enjoyed it. And he's the second one. He's the owner, the proprietor of all lands and planets. It's not mine. It's not my house. It's not my family. It's not my child. It's not my wife. It's not my husband. It's not my car, whatever. It all belongs to Krishna. He owns everything because it's all his energy. Even this body is his energy. I didn't make it. I didn't create it. It's all his energy. And it's all coming from him, and it's all his property. So naturally, if something is the property of someone else, it should be used for the proprietor of that. And as I mentioned at the other class, that may sound rather slavish. You know, he's enjoying. It's like he's the master, and I'm just the slave. But the nice part is here, and he's the sincerest friend of all living entities. He wants us to be happy. He's our real friend. He is the real friend because he wants us to be happy. And he knows that we're never going to be happy if we don't accept him as the enjoyer and the proprietor. And therefore he's our friend, and then sometimes even if we may think, well, I thought Krishna was my friend, and I had this plan to buy this and get this and enjoy this, and it failed, it didn't work. So he's not my friend. No, he is our friend because he didn't make it work. And to convince us, to help us understand that, no, we're never going to be happy trying to be the proprietor or the enjoyer. That we'll actually become happy when we just think of how can I serve, how can I give pleasure to Krishna, how can I use everything in his service. It's very simple, but it's not easy at all. It's very, very simple. It's not complicated. It's very logical, but to put it, because we're conditioned from time immemorial to think exactly the opposite. So it takes time to get. And that's what a temple is for, where we can all engage in serving Krishna in the center. We're all engaged in serving for his pleasure. We understand, oh yeah, the temple is Krishna's property, and everything is meant for his pleasure. But that should be, gradually that should expand to everywhere. Because everything, the whole world, the whole planet, the whole universe, it's all his property. And it's all meant for his enjoyment. So the perfect yogi knows that the living being who is conditioned by the modes of material nature is subjected to the threefold material miseries due to forgetfulness of his relationship with Krishna. Repeat, it's like 3 times Prabhupada's repeating, getting. That's what's so wonderful about Srila Prabhupada's books. He makes it clear, he repeats it just to get it to sink in and understand the point. It's not speculated or complicated or difficult to understand. It's very clear, explained, repeated, just so we can understand it. And any sincere person will be able to understand it very easily. We just have to accept it, not just understand it, then we have to accept it. And because one in Krishna consciousness is happy, he tries to distribute the knowledge of Krishna everywhere. That's it. That's the reason why we want to today, tomorrow, and forevermore distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. Why? Because it's giving the message of Krishna. And because we are happy by chanting Hare Krishna and hearing about Krishna, reading Prabhupada's book, we're happy. You want to make other people happy. That's a natural outcome of being happy in Krishna consciousness. You should want to share that with others. He tries to distribute, Prabhupada says, he tries to distribute the knowledge of Krishna everywhere. Since the perfect yogi tries to broadcast the importance of becoming Krishna conscious, he is the best philanthropist in the world, and he is the dearest servitor of the Lord. Na chatasma manusheshu kashtame priyakitamaha. Bhagavad Gita 1869. In other words, a devotee of the Lord always looks to the welfare of all living entities. If we count ourselves, we want to be a devotee of the Lord, we have to be thinking about the welfare of all living entities. And in this way, he is factually the friend of everyone. People should feel like that when they meet a devotee. He said, Jayananda, I had the good fortune to, I don't know if you've ever heard, any of you have been to a Rath Yatra festival, the car festival? You've heard of Jayananda Prabhu. He built the first Rath Yatra cart and he started the first Rath Yatra festival. I had the good fortune that I decided to move in the temple. He took me to my house to pick up my things and then and explain to my father and mother, what's going on? Where are you going? And but he was so kind, he was so wonderful that they just melted because just by speaking to him. Because he from the first day he met Srila Prabhupada, he totally surrendered his life and soul to serving Srila Prabhupada. He had no other thought, I can tell you, because I went out, he taught me how to drive a car, he took me around, he would do anything for serving the temple. And he was not thinking about anything else. And he was so happy that people were... He would go to the vegetable market. He would go to get permission. He would go. Just to give you an idea, in New York, he got the permission for the first Rath Yatra there, and he built the cart. He did the Rath Yatra in New York in 1976, and he. And then he left his body. He went to Los Angeles, did the Rath Yatra there, and then he left his body. And when he was building the cart in New York in 1976, he actually had leukemia. He actually had big, I saw them, he had big black spots. And then they took him to the hospital, and even in the hospital, in a wheelchair, with advanced leukemia, he was going around. He said, bring me prasadam, but he'd bring him prasadam, he would eat something, but then he would go distribute. He said, bring me magazines, bring me books. And he would go around to all the people in the wards in the hospital and give books. And he was dying. I mean, he died just a few months later. He left his body. But he never thought about it. He only thought about serving Srila Prabhupada's mission, giving Krishna to others. And he was the happiest person. What happened is the devotees went back the next year after he had left his body to ask permission. And this lady who gave permissions was very nasty. She didn't like devotees. She was always giving them a hard time. But Jayananda, she would give the permission to him. So when they went there, she asked, well, where is he? Where's Jayananda? They call him sometime. Where is Jayananda? And then they told her that he left his body. He's gone. And she just spontaneously broke out crying. Because he had touched her heart, even though she was... we would call her a demon, such a very negative person. But she just broke down crying because her heart had been so touched by a pure devotee like Jayananda. By the way, Jayananda is the only devotee in our movement that Prabhupada personally wrote that he went back to Godhead. So there's only one devotee we know for sure went back to Godhead, it was Jayananda. So if you can study his life and his life, then you can understand what was a pure. And what was his character? What was a pure devotee? What is his characteristic? He was only thinking about, we've got to do this for Prabhupada's pleasure. We have to do this for Prabhupada's mission. We have to serve for Prabhupada's mission. He would sacrifice everything. He would not sleep at night. We would building the Rath Yatra carts. He would lie down. I was lying down on the floor sleeping. He lay down on the floor next to me, and we went. It was like midnight, and 3 o'clock in the morning. No alarm clock. He just jump up and keep going and building the Rath Yatra cart, chanting his rounds. Anyway, I can give a whole class about Jayananda Prabhu. If you want to know the example of this, of what we're reading about, he was a personal example of being so happy that his happiness touched the hearts of so many people. Anyone he came in contact with, and he was always thinking, hey, really, I'm telling you, he had no other thought. Even he got married and everything, but he wasn't into it. He was only doing service in the temple. He was only thinking about Prabhupada's mission and serving the temple. In other words, a devotee of the Lord always looks to the welfare of all living entities, and in this way, he is factually the friend of everyone. He is the best yogi because he does not desire perfection in yoga for his personal benefit, but tries for others also. He has both, just like we were saying. He's purifying himself because he also knows that if I'm not purified, if I'm not Krishna conscious, I have nothing to give to other people. So he's doing both. He's becoming Krishna conscious, hearing and chanting about Krishna, but then distributing it to others. He does not envy his fellow living entities. Here is a contrast between a pure devotee of the Lord and a yogi interested only in his personal elevation. The yogi who has withdrawn to a secluded place in order to meditate perfectly may not be as perfect as a devotee who is trying his best to turn every man toward Krishna consciousness. This is Prabhupada's mood. If you want to really receive Krishna consciousness as it is, as Prabhupada has presented it to the world, this is his mood. we want to hear and chant and become Krishna conscious, then we'll be able to give Krishna to others. But this strong desire of Srila Prabhupada to spread, to give Krishna to others, staying up, not sleeping all night in very difficult conditions, just to write these books, just to give us these books, so that we have a tangible, real way to give Krishna to other people, that they can actually take into their life and change their life. So we're asking everyone, since it's Gita Jayanti tomorrow, and since we're speaking about Bhagavad Gita, this message is there. The essence of all message of Krishna consciousness is there in Bhagavad Gita. It's the complete Krishna consciousness in one book, in just one book. We know we expand to Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, as we advance gradually in Krishna consciousness. But Bhagavad Gita is, if we have one book, what does the Prabhupada say in the introduction, at the end of the introduction, if there was just one book, we would have Bhagavad Gita, because that gives, you can become fully Krishna conscious just by reading Bhagavad Gita. So, and we've been speaking about compassion, giving it to others. So this is an opportunity that's going on all over the world, all temples of Hare Krishna movement all over the world on this day or tomorrow, today, especially because it happens to fall on the day after the Sunday feast, and the Sunday feast is the day that everyone's at the temple. So it's the only day where, if I call you all to come here tomorrow, you won't come because you're working, it's a work day. So you're all here today, so we'll pretend it's the Gita Jayanti today. So we like to ask all of you to participate. There's different ways you can participate. You can buy Bhagavad Gitas from the temple. I don't know exactly how they work, the price or whatever that, but you can buy Bhagavad Gitas from the temple. You can give them for Christmas to your friends. You can buy Bhagavad Gitas, and there's a thing called book crossing. I don't know if you've heard of that here. There's some devotee in Rome, he does that. President of the Temple in Rome, he does. He distributes a nice amount of books every month like that. That means you place books in certain strategic places. You in the front page of the book, you put a little sticker that says, "This book is not lost. This book is for you." And you buy it. The book is paid for. But then because maybe you don't have the courage, you don't feel like, how can I go out and talk to people I don't even know? I mean, it's kind of scary at first. But you can participate the same, and you place books in strategic. In some countries, I don't know in Switzerland, but in some countries in Italy, in many countries in North Europe, they have these bookshelves, just kind of around the town, around the city, that are meant for this. People place books, people can take a book, it's free, and it's called book crossing, you exchange books. Some people may feel that it's a good thing, some do. It's a controversial thing, but it works. Some people say, no, you got to go on the street. But some people, they're not able to, they just don't, it's too much to go out and talk to people like that. But one interesting thing happened was a devotee there in Rome. He was doing this. He was buying every month 10, 20 books, and then placing them. He said, and finally he came to the conclusion, hey, wouldn't it be easier if I just went up to the people and gave them the books directly instead of... I said, right, you got that. You finally figured it out. So they gradually... It's a good way to get people to gradually get into distributing the books themselves. Or you can sponsor books if you feel like, well, I just don't have time. I can give some money, but I don't have time. You can donate and sponsor so many, one box of Bhagavad Gitas. One box of Bhagavad Gitas, I think I read Vedasara's list that he put on Facebook. I think it was a box of German Bhagavad Gitas, 144 years, something like that. You know? German Bhagavad Gitas, yeah. He was selling them on Facebook for, I think, 144 years for one box. It was 30 of these little ones. Anyway, you can discuss with the authorities details like that, but it's a principle. So, I did one year in Prabhupada Desh where we auctioned. We asked everyone to come, please come and take a box of Bhagavad Gitas. You can also take home a box of Bhagavad Gitas and just go to a hospital and before Christmas and give a copy to all the people, all the patients in the hospital. There's so many ways. You can be creative. But the principle is somehow or other participate in this celebration. It's also happens to be the beginning of what we call the Srila Prabhupada Marathon. It's not a marathon of 26 kilometers or whatever we have to run. It means a special concentration all over the world and the whole Hare Krishna movement, a special concentration for this month in distributing Prabhupada's books. So if you want to feel part of that and get part of that mercy of being involved in that, there's different ways. We can speak with the authorities of the temple, different ways you can participate. By, like I said, buying Bhagavad Gitas and giving them as presents, giving them to your friends. You can actually go out with the brahmacharis, and go out and distribute them yourself with them. Just follow them, and they can teach you how to do that, if you'd like to do that. It's just a question of desire. If you want to participate, I hope that you feel inspired from hearing from Bhagavad Gita, that I want to also participate in this mission of distributing this transcendental knowledge to as many people as possible. Please come forward. I think there'll be someone out in the front at the desk, and now it's prasadam, but there'll be somebody out at the desk. You can come to them. Really, I'd like to buy a box of Bhagavad Gitas. I'd like to sponsor. That means you take it with you. I'd like to sponsor a box of Bhagavad Gitas. That means you give the Lakshmi, and the devotees here at the temple, they'll distribute the Bhagavad Gitas to suitable people. So in any way you want to participate, you can, and I guarantee you'll feel special mercy from Srila Prabhupada. You'll definitely feel special mercy that somehow I sacrificed yagya, sacrifice. It's called Samkirtan Yagya, sacrifice. I sacrifice some of my energy, my time, my money. I sacrifice something of mine. I sacrificed it for the mission of spreading Krishna consciousness. So that I think everyone can, most everyone here, I can look around, I think everybody works. I think you all work. You're not, there's just a few devotees at the temple. I think most everybody here works. So you can participate in this way somehow or another. Just you can speak to Damodar Prasad, right? The president, or Shikshastam, Sankirtan leader. There's other devotees outside. But I'm praying to you to please try to do this. And I'm praying for you to do this, because you'll feel happy. It'll make you feel happy. It's not because, the temple's asking for money or anything like that. It's not like that. It's a special service that you can all participate in, but it's a special service of giving. They say it's Christmas spirit, giving spirit. So it's the spirit of giving to others, and you'll be able to really understand what we were speaking about tonight. Okay. Any quick? I guess we don't have time for questions. One question. Or maybe Akandadi Prabhu would like to speak something, say something.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for inspiring us to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. We would also like to welcome Her Grace Krishna Loka Mataji, the wife of Trai Prabhu. She's also here. They are both here till Wednesday morning. Yeah, you'd like to say?
She's being quiet, but tomorrow she'll be speaking also. She has many. She's just a little embarrassed for the English, but she's actually been doing book distribution full time she's been a devotee for 43 years. And since the day, I think after a couple of weeks she was a devotee, she was out distributing books 8-10 hours a day, every day, at least for the 30 years straight. The last few years we've been taking care of devotees in our preaching center, but she still goes out on book distribution. She even stayed for 3 years. Any of you been to Calcutta? Kolkata? Ever been to Calcutta? Would you like to live there? She lived for 3 years in Calcutta, going out on the street, going office to office, shop to shop, distributing sets of Srila Prabhupada's books for 3 years straight in Calcutta. So she has a lot of realizations. I offer my obeisances to her, not as my wife, but as a great Sankirtan devotee. And I call her a yogini because she's very austere. But you'll see. But she doesn't like. But she'll come out. We'll go out on Sankirtan tomorrow. If any of you have any free time tomorrow, other than the temple devotees, but if any else has free time, we'll be going out tomorrow morning to distribute some books. And we have to see where. There's some problem.
What time are you going?
Right after breakfast.
Right after breakfast, so
Yeah, 9:30.
leaving about 9:30.
Yeah, 9:30. We should go from 10 to 12. Those 2 hours. If you want to meet us out there, we'll be going for 2 hours concentrating. But you should especially. I talk a lot, but I'm not a big book distributor. But she would do regularly 60, 70, 100 books a day. That's normal. So you should, if you come tomorrow, you should follow her and see how she distributes books.
Distribute to where? In the street?
On the street, yeah. I personally prefer going to door, but there's all kinds of regulations here in Switzerland, as you all know very well. But so we'll see. We'll try to do what we can do tomorrow. But distributing to personally. That's one way. Like I said, I explained before. There's many ways, according to your personality, according to what you can feel like you can do. You can all participate. It's a mission for everybody to participate in. You just have to find, how can I do it? How can I do something? Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhagavad Gita, Gita Jayanti ki jai. Go Premanandi.
Haribol, His Grace Trai Prabhu Ki Jai. So as mentioned, tomorrow we have a program with Prabhu and Mataji. It already starts 4:30 in the morning, Mangala Arti, for those of you who can make it. If not, we also have a class with Trai Prabhu and Krishna Loka Mataji at 7:30. And after that we'll have breakfast and then go out for book distribution. It just came to my mind, Prabhupada, the Garga Muni tells this story in the early days when Prabhupada used to introduce many different things. One of the things was to pay obeisances, and Garga Muni went to Prabhupada and told him, I don't want to pay obeisances because I don't feel like that. And Prabhupada's answer was, no, you should do it, and by doing it, the feeling will come. And in a similar way also we might say, I don't feel that compassion, I don't want to distribute books, but actually by doing these things, distributing books ourselves, donating, supporting, the feeling, the compassion will come. So that's something to reflect on, and as Prabhu mentioned, please contribute, support, and we are here after the lecture. Now there is prasadam outside, you're invited to join. And 6:15 we have a japa meditation here in the temple room. Especially those who came for the first time, you can learn how to chant on prayer beats. This is something you can do at home as well.
Meditation.
It's a meditation. Basically the mantra meditation we do singing, you can do also in silent at home or wherever you are. And then 7 o'clock we have our ceremony, Arati, with kirtan, dancing, and from 8 till 9:30 more kirtan. Thank you all for joining. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, His Grace Trai Prabhu ki jai, Gaura Brahmanande, Hari Hari Bol, Vanchaka.